Marvel's Darkest Heroes, Kamen Rider Transformations in American Comics. Like, share and subscribe. Episode 11. Having just robbed 2 gangsters, she has now made a small fortune. The bartender immediately took the money away with a smile and served her 4 glasses of whiskey with ice. Gollum. Jessica looked up and counted a glass of wine in one gulp. Little girl, drinking so much alone? How about a drink with me? Suddenly, a big man walked up to her, put a pestle on the table in front of her, and asked with a smile. He stretched out his other large hand to take away a full wine glass. Lay down, and take your dirty hands off my desk. Jessica looked at him expressionlessly. Don't be so stingy, it's not good to drink so much alone. The big man ignored it and picked up the wine glass directly. I said, put it down. Jessica narrowed her eyes. The big man looked at her expression, and suddenly his heart was empty, and his hand stopped in midair. No, Lucas, you're scared by a girl? My God, you must not be with us in the future. Lucas, you son of a son is actually afraid of a woman. Drink that wine, Lucas. On the small table on one side, several big men immediately cajoled. The big man named Lucas blushed, immediately picked up the wine glass, and poured it to his mouth. Boom. Jessica wouldn't get used to him, so she took a few punches and punched him in the stomach. Lucas' tongue fell to the ground in pain. Reward you. Jessica caught the wine glass in his hand and poured it all over his head. Damn it, kill this girl. Seeing that his brother was beaten, several big men on the small table immediately surrounded him. 5 big men attacked Jessica. Jessica doesn't mind a warm-up either. She took a boxing stance, and her seemingly pink fist was struck at great speed. Petite fists hit the bodies of the big men. Soon they lost their combat effectiveness. That's it? That's it. Looking at the big man who fell to the ground, Jessica was triumphant. Back at the bar, she drank twice the remaining whiskey into her stomach. Bartender, bring me 4 more glasses. After Jessica awakens her superpowers, her alcohol intake increases dramatically. At least a few pounds of strong wine must be required to make her drunk. Bartender, bartender. After smacking the table twice, the bartender did not respond. Jessica frowned, turned her head, and looked at the bartender. He stood frozen in place, not moving, looking frightened, and cold sweat on his head. Jessica suddenly noticed that something was wrong. She quickly turned her head. I saw a huge bar, whether it was a dancing stripper or a gang member who came to drink. Everyone suddenly stood still. TSK, I couldn't imagine that such a good toy could be found in a small bar. A man's voice came. Jessica fixed her eyes. I saw a man all purple, with an interested smile on his face, looking himself up and down. Who are you? Jessica immediately looked at each other warily and prepared to attack. The other party's weird dress does not look like a good person. Introduce myself, beautiful Miss Toy. My name is Zebdia Kilgrave. You can call me Purple Man. The Purple Man introduced himself. Understood. Jessica nodded. In the next second, the body rushed out and punched the Purple Man in the face. However, at the moment of rushing out, Jessica's pupils slowly dilated. His own body actually began to disobey the command. No, it's your own brain. I lost control of my brain. Tisk, it's violent. The Purple Man smiled and looked around Jessica. I like to hit people so much. Let you fight enough. The Purple Man gave the order. Go, screw the bartender's head off for me. No, Jessica shouted in her heart. But every muscle in his body did not listen to the call, and could only watch himself come to the standing bartender. Reaching out, she hugged his head in the bartender's terrified eyes. Twist hard. A wave of blood rose into the sky. Well done, my little toy. The Purple Man laughed, his eyes blazing. This superpower is definitely the most fun toy he has ever controlled. Look at the strength of the other party. Killing someone is as simple as pinching an ant to death. For a while, countless ways to play flashed in his mind. No, Jessica gritted her teeth, tears bursting out of the corners of her eyes. I just killed an innocent person, although it is controlled, but it was true that the man had been killed by himself. She felt a heavy sense of guilt for a while. More guilt than the lifesaver Luke Cage dying in front of himself. After all, Luke Cage didn't kill it himself. Come, let me admire your flesh. The Purple Man clapped his hands excitedly and looked at Jessica, his eyes burning. Little darling, take off your clothes, just like that, take them off and kill them all. Jessica was struck by lightning. She was terrified, but she couldn't control the 2 hands that were groping towards her body. The buttons of her blouse were torn open by her one by one. She burst into tears of pain. Episode 12. Jessica was in tears, but had to do as the Purple Man was told, making a shameful act. Just when she was about to take off her underwear, rumble, a loud roar came. The ceiling of the bar was lifted. Billowing dust swept in with airwaves. Ahem. The Purple Man coughed violently. His face was gloomy, and he looked at the slowly falling golden figure. The noble and elegant appearance of the other party is in sharp contrast to his own dress as a pretend gentleman. It's him. Jessica saw the figure that fell to the ground clearly, and her eyes were even more frightened. The descendant is a utopian dope that Yan Tianxin has transformed. Hey, I just want to have a drink. Why is it so quiet on the scene? Yan Tianxin patrolled for a week. Sweeping over Jessica, who had not yet been adjusted, she breathed a sigh of relief. He was originally making business contacts at the top of the Tianxin intelligent fortress, and suddenly Jessica provided himself with 200 special influence factors. Subconsciously, I feel that something has happened to the other party. Calculate carefully, the other party should also meet the purple man. He was immediately worried. The other party has provided him with a lot of special impact factors in the past few days. It's a big customer, and it can't happen yet. What are you? Why is the whole body purple? Yan Tianxin finally looked at the purple man Kilgrave. Up, kill him. Kilgrave is also visibly panicked now. He had just recognized it. The golden figure in front of him is a god who could easily destroy a block a few days ago. Their own hormones have no effect on each other. Inability to control the other person. He knew it clearly. These themselves are only stronger than ordinary people with limited physical fitness. Just an ant in front of each other. He hurriedly gave the order. Let everyone in the bar attack each other and take the opportunity to escape. Oh. Today, I didn't want to kill. Yan Tianxin pretended to sigh. His man showed no mercy. The purple lightning long whip was instantly emitted. The entire bar was emptied in an instant. He hummed a minor tune and came to the bar. The headless corpse stepping on the bar mixed himself a glass of wine. Maisie finished drinking. Then his body soared into the sky and disappeared in the blink of an eye. He forgot me? Not long after Yan Tianxin left. Behind a table, Jessica staggered to her feet. Her chest continued to her abdomen, and a charred black mark appeared. But compared to other people who were beaten to pieces, she finally survived with an unusually ordinary body. It turns out that I am nothing in his eyes. Jessica was a little happy and a little angry. The self who thinks he is strong is actually in the other party's heart. Not even eligible to be written down. A bigger ant? Jessica muttered, found her clothes from the ground, put them on, and prepared to leave here. Next second, a strong wind hit. Jessica subconsciously threw her punch in panic. However, I only felt like I had hit a wall. Shoo! She was about to withdraw her painful fist, but her whole body was restrained by a pair of large hands. Her eyes widened. How could she always be deflated by the strength she was proud of? Raised his head blankly and looked at the figure that grabbed him in front of him. The whole body is blue, and there are many mysterious patterns on the body. On his head, he wears a bronze-like delicate and ornate mask, wearing an elegant and solemn cape on the back. There is a slight resemblance to the gods, just now. On your body, there is utopian energy radiation. The figure in front of her looked at her coldly. Who are you? What does utopia have to do with it? Who, ahem. Who is utopia? Jessica was inexplicable, but the gap in strength between the two sides was too great, and she had no way to resist. Humph, don't play the fool. On your body, there is still his energy. Tianjin snorted coldly. You just absolutely stayed with him. You mean that dead pervert with a golden body and a love of killing? Jessica blushed. Yes, he almost beat me to death with a whip just now. Jessica ripped off her shirt with a movable hand, and a scorched black and hideous wound was displayed in front of Tianjin Mo. You're not with him? I'm sorry. Tianjin suddenly realized and immediately let Jessica go. Ahem. Jessica had just almost burst by his hands, bending over and coughing violently. That bastard, ahem. Called Utopia? Yes. Tianjin Mo nodded. You know him? Jessica glanced at the Nazca doped. It is indeed somewhat similar to utopian doping. The patterns and costumes on the body are somewhat similar. He used to be my comrade in arms. Nazca clenched his fists. You, like him, are a god? Gods? Haha, he actually calls himself a god. It's ridiculous. Nazca said disdainfully. How can a coward who is about to escape be called a god? He betrayed you? Jessica was a little curious. Originally, the kind of power she thought that Utopia possessed might really be a god or something, but now it seems that there is something else hidden in it. Episode 13. Yes, he betrayed us. Tianjin Mo showed some anger. Are you going to eliminate him? Jessica asked. My mission is to catch him. He will be put to death after trial. Tianjin sneered. Sounds like you're a great organization. You successfully influenced the treasure girl Jessica Jones and obtained 100 special pictures. Ringing factor. Jessica has now slowed down. Looking at Tianjin Mo, he said enviously. Any defector on the other side can run amok in New York. This can't help but allow her to sketch out a mysterious and powerful organization. Awesome? Our museum has been born for 80 years. So far, I have not suffered defeat. Tianjin said proudly. The two chatted a few words. Jessica's physical fitness is also far beyond ordinary people, and the wounds destroyed by Utopia begin to heal gradually. Just as the two were about to leave, tear gas gases were suddenly thrown in from outside the door. Immediately afterwards, a group of armed men armed with live ammunition broke in. Put your hands above your head, then kneel on the ground. Hurry. Look at their dress, like the FBI. Jessica, a high school student, naturally did so. But the Nazca dope transformed into a Tianjin Mo is not afraid of ordinary thermal weapons. He turned around and faced the FBI agents. Fire. The monster before the FBI side met did not surrender as he requested. Bullets immediately rained down. Damn. Tianjin saw that the other party opened fire directly, and he became angry for a while. He rushed into the crowd in an instant and did not need any extra movements. Simple punches and leg sweeps. The entire armed squad of the FBI suddenly fell to the ground on their backs, suffering pain all over their bodies and losing their ability to fight. The enemy is strong. We need support. We need support. A member of the squad took the headset and held in pain. Outside the tavern at this time, more than a dozen special vehicles were surrounded one after another, and several helicopter gunships were hovering overhead. With the last reminder, the New York government has already prepared defense and supervision measures. As soon as a trace of a utopian doping is found, there will be a hint within 3 seconds. From Yan Tianxin's transformation into a utopian dope appearing in the tavern and then leaving, to the arrival of the Nazca doping transformed into a Tianjin Bao, to the arrival of armed personnel from the FBI and the New York City Police Department, less than 10 minutes before and after, and in the middle of the night. This police speed is already extremely fast. It's just that the other party did not catch Utopia, but captured Nazca. Of course, this was Yan Tianxin deliberately letting Nazca be caught by them, because the people who came to the scene, in addition to the FBI and the police, there was also a special department newly established the day before yesterday. Helicopter cover, the second squad inserted from the right, the third squad fire suppression. In a command car, a bald middle-aged man was directing the action on the scene. Wait, don't fire again, don't escalate the situation again. Just as he was directing the sky, the car door suddenly opened and a figure came up. The figure is about 30 years old, with a high hairline, and looks honest, but there is a shrewd light in his eyes. Who are you? Who let you come up? The FBI commander was stunned for a moment, and then asked seriously, "Hello, I'm Phil Coulson, an agent of the newly formed Homeland Strategic Defense Attack and Logistics Support Agency." Coulson pulled a document out of his pocket and handed it over. Homeland Strategic Defense Attack and Logistics Support Agency? The FBI commander looked at Coulson suspiciously, then made a phone call, seemingly asking his superiors. After some questioning, he recognized Coulson's identity. "So, agent, what do you want to do?" The commander asked. "Can you let me in and talk to this person?" Coulson pointed to the figure of the Nazca-doped body on the screen in the car. "God, do you want to send death? You're going to reason with a monster. 5 days ago, he slaughtered a block alive. Just half an hour ago, he killed everyone in the tavern." The commander looked at Coulson in shock. "He wasn't the one who did those things. It's another golden figure." Coulson argued. "Oh my God, can't you see that? How similar these two figures are, but it's not him who does the bad things." Coulson said, "Don't worry, I know their approximate identity. Since you insist on this, I can let you in. However, the FBI is no longer responsible for your life." The commander warned. "No problem." Coulson nodded. "The helicopter group retreats first, and the second and third squads don't." "What, already beaten down?" The commander coughed dryly and put down his headphones. "Agent, please on the spot." Coulson responded. "Crossing the cordon and guards, we came to the front of the tavern." He took a deep breath and strode inside. The other party's information, he does know. Yesterday saved Daredevil at the hands of Mrs. Gao of the Hand Society. Daredevil told the Punisher, who was also a street hero, about this. The Punisher had a well-connected comrade in arms named Nick Fury, and the two communicated. And Nick Fury is exactly his superior. Episode 14. Step into the tavern. There was gunsmoke all around. An FBI squad lying on the ground. At the bar, a sturdy blue figure was talking about something with a girl who looked thin. "You shouldn't do it, they're the FBI." Jessica pointed to the FBI team members on the ground and blamed Tianjin Mo. "I don't care who they are, whoever does something to me, whoever beats me." Tianjin arrogantly said, "Who have the people in our museum been afraid of? This is not Huagua. This is America." Jessica covered her forehead. "You are doing something to the FBI in the United States. This is extremely stupid." "It's okay, I'm not afraid of them." Tianjin, you said confidently, "but they consider me your companion." Jessica said desperately. As soon as the FBI team came in, they had the intention of killing 2 people. Jessica was also enveloped by their fire. Although she has great strength, her body is not invulnerable, and she still has to burp when she encounters a large number of 7.62 bullets. Fortunately, the mysterious man in front of him was powerful, and he put several FBI squads to the ground in the blink of an eye. However, Jessica, who is well aware of the government's style, is even more worried. Seeing that Nazca cannot solve it with conventional weapons, the government will not throw missiles here, right? Jessica was panicking right now. Why, doesn't the world want to live on its own? First the golden pervert, then this blue bummer, and now a group of FBI breaks. Everyone wants to kill themselves when they meet. You successfully influenced the treasure girl Jessica Jones, and you get 100 special impact factors. You successfully influenced the treasure girl Jessica Jones, and you get 100 special impact factors. Yan Tianxin, who had just returned to the office, was stunned when he heard the system's prompt. A smile that could not be hidden appeared on his face. What a treasure girl. 2, please don't panic. Looking at the two who were about to quarrel, Coulson spoke. Who are you? Jessica was taken aback, and Tianjin Yu also prepared an attack posture. Don't be nervous. I'm not with them. I speak for the United Nations. Coulson pulled out his papers. I am an agent of the Homeland Strategic Defense Attack and Logistics Agency, an international organization affiliated with the United Nations. Phil Coulson. I'm here to help the two of you. Coulson finished introducing himself and continued. The FBI recognized you two as utopian accomplices. This is a misunderstanding. However, I need the two of you to come with me to clear up this misunderstanding. We don't believe you. The name of your department can't be found on the internet. Jessica threw Coulson's papers back. Coulson hurriedly took back the documents and coughed lightly. I said, this is a secret department, specially set up for the kind of people of Utopia. The confidentiality is very high, and there is naturally no news on the internet. How do you know about Utopia? Tianjin Fox looked at Coulson suspiciously. Remember Matt Merchter you saved yesterday? He told us and he thanked you. He's your man? Nope. At least now he hasn't joined us. It's just that he felt that he couldn't handle this kind of thing, so he told us. That kid. Tianjin Mo made a thoughtful move. After a few tens of seconds, he nodded. In that case, I'll go with you. Anyway, look at you guys are quite difficult to deal with me. Tianjin Mo is very confident in its own strength. Seeing that Tianjin Yu agreed, Jessica could only pout and follow behind him. She is now exposed and has nowhere to go. Go home and face more harassment. Following Coulson out of the bar, the sky was already dark. Jessica covered her face with clothes. After all, she still had to return to normal life in the future. If too many people see your face, you will have unnecessary trouble. Tianjin Mo is a lot more casual. Anyway, Yan Tianxin asked him to brush the impact factor, and it didn't matter if he was seen by others, and the impact factor was recorded in the account. Thereupon, in full view of everyone, Tianjin Yu lifted the transformation form of Gaia's memory and restored his body. Looking at this scene, many people were shocked. A monster just turned into a human? No, it was a person. What power was used, and he became that kind of monster? Coulson looked at the golden Gaia memory on Tianjin Bao's hand, and the ground around his waist. The ball drove with a thoughtful look, but he didn't say anything now. Wait for Jessica and Tianjin to get into the car. Coulson took them and drove to the SHIELD base. This is another base, right on the outskirts of New York. Nick Fury had long planned to establish SHIELD, so he built a lot of bases in advance. As the vehicle slowly drove into the base, Jessica's mood suddenly became nervous. She found that the inner wall of this base was actually cast from steel, several meters thick, coupled with the reinforced concrete structure. If the door is closed, mosquitoes are estimated to not be able to fly out. Hey, Nazca, didn't you notice something was wrong in this place? Such a thick wall, are you sure you can break through? Jessica secretly pushed the Tianjin Mo beside her. Episode 15. I'll see. Well, it's a little hard to come out. Tianjin Mo looked around and nodded. Or shall we take the opportunity to run? Jessica looked behind the car. She had memorized the actions of several guards who had just closed the door. She was sure to knock over the guards in a matter of seconds, open the gate and escape from the base. If you add Tianjin Mo, the grasp is even greater. What are you running for? Tianjin Yu glanced at her. They invited us as guests. Jessica rolled her eyes, speechless to Tianjin, but she soon figured it out. This buddy estimates that he lived in the fairy life in China, and he didn't know how deep the water of the US government and organizations was. Sighing, she can only come and be safe. The vehicle is slowly parked in the garage. Coulson got out of the car and invited the two down. On the side, there was already a group of people waiting. Welcome to both. Please move this way. The person in front of him was led by a one-eyed bald head and a black man. After shaking his hand, Tianjin Mo followed him to the reception room on the side. Hello, Mr. Tianjin Mo. Nick Fury handed him a cup of tea. Nice tea. Tianjin's eyes lit up. The tea leaves in front of you are very fragrant. According to your Huagua habits, I specially bought it. Nick Fury smiled, but his heart hurt a little. These teas in front of me are all high-end goods imported from China, spending tens of thousands of dollars, just to win the favor of the other party. I understand the kindness. You invited me over. I'm afraid you also have other plans, right? Tianjin Yu drank tea slowly and looked at Nick Fury with a smile. There is no humble performance at all. Got a fancy for the Gaia memory in my hand? That's right, your Gaia memory can make people get great power. Of course we value it. Nick Fury nodded in acknowledgement. Unfortunately, Gaia memory, the museum has regulations and cannot be passed on. Tianjin Mo shook his head gently. But you've already had someone wreak havoc on it. Nick Fury's face was serious. You know, that guy called Utopia, in just a few days in New York, has killed more than 1,800 people. He's a traitor. I came to New York to arrest him. Tianjin Mo's face also became serious. Then why haven't you caught it until now? Today he killed more than 30 people. After a glass of wine, you're 5 minutes late. It was an accident. Next time, I'll catch him. Tian Jinyu coughed lightly. With all due respect, with your own strength, it seems somewhat unlikely that you will seize the Utopia in a short time. With each day of drag, Utopia has the potential to carry out more destruction. Nick Fury looked at him angrily, and this destruction is precisely because of the Gaia memory you produced. Any force that wreaks havoc on the bad guys. It's none of Gaia's memory. Tianjin Mo argued, but you have given this power to a bad person. The bad guys have already wreaked havoc with it. I'm sorry. So I made up for the mistake on behalf of the organization. Tian Jinyu took a deep breath and seemed to blame himself a little. Make up? Those people are dead. And the reason they died is because you created this uncontrollable thing. Nick Fury accused. Gaia memory is indeed a double-edged sword. I admit it, but it's a lot more important than you think. Tian Jingyu's face was serious. You don't know the importance of Gaia's memory at all. It can't be passed on, so tell me, what's so important about it? Nick Fury looked directly at Tianjin Mo. Tianjin Mo's expression was tangled for a while, and finally he sighed and said, Do you know the undead? Do you know Orpheus? Do you know His Holiness? Gaia memories are made to deal with them. Undead? Orphenok? His Holiness? Nick Fury's pupil shrank. These are three creatures whose names have never been heard of. Well, listen carefully, American. Tian Jinyu took a deep breath and his expression solemn. You Americans are far from knowing the mysterious creatures on Earth. The so-called undead creatures are creatures that were incarnated by the gods 10,000 years ago, and their bodies evolved to achieve immortality. It is the ancestor of many creatures today. Orphe Enoch, due to the influence of special forces, an evolutionary form of human beings. Most have malice towards humans, and have the ability to transform humans into Orphean Enoch. Very dangerous. His Holiness is a creature that we haven't figured out until now. They have the same strength as Gaia's memory, like believing in some religion, and often make mysterious gestures after killing. These mysterious creatures are why we use Gaia memory. You successfully influenced Nick Fury and obtained 100 special impact factors. You successfully influenced Phil Coulson and obtained 100 special impact factors. You successfully influenced Black Widow Natasha Romantsov and obtained 100 special impact factors. You successfully influenced. Episode 16. Listening to Tianjin Mo's words, Nick Fury's one-eyed eyes had 5 points of surprise, 3 points of worry, and 2 points of doubt. These three creatures, he had been running around the world for so long, but he had never heard of them. Is he lonely and unheard, or is the other party making it up? Nick Fury didn't know which result to believe. I'll go to the toilet. Under the excuse of going to the bathroom, Nick Fury's figure entered the next room. In this room, several figures stood together, looking at the screen in front of them. What is shown on the screen is the scene of the next room. Every move of Tianjin Mo was seen by them. Do you think what he just said is true or false? Nick Fury asked the experienced agents in front of him. I've been paying attention to his movements and micro-expressions. It doesn't seem like he's lying. Natasha shook her head, her face solemn. The rest of the people, like her, believed in Tianjin Mo's words. They are all old agents who have studied the expressions and movements of the human body. When Tianjin just spoke, it was the expression and action of telling the truth. I also think he's telling the truth. Agent Hill nodded, unless he's an experienced actor. By the way, just took this opportunity to check some information about the museum from the internet department. And found some information about Tianjin Mo, Felsen said, holding a laptop. Everyone immediately turned their heads together. I saw a museum website appear on the computer screen. Yuanjia Private Museum. Natasha pronounced the Chinese characters on the website in authentic Mandarin. The museum was built in 1947, the first owner is unknown, and the current owner is called Yuan Bingwei. Look down. Coulson moved the mouse and pulled the interface. Tianjin Mo, Deputy Captain of Museum Security? A familiar figure greeted everyone's eyes. Below the museum, there is a row of museum staff presentations. The head and name of Tianjin Mo are prominently among them. It seems that there is indeed such an organization as a museum. Several people nodded and confirmed the news, but what they don't know is, this website was newly built by Yan Tianqin a few days ago. With his current level of technology, it is easy to create a fake website. Moreover, even the top hackers can't see through the real and fake. Not only that, he also bought a private museum in Huaguozhen and changed it to the way he wanted. Even if S.H.I.E.L.D. checks it now, it can't find any clues. That is to say, those mysterious creatures he said really exist? Nick Fury's face suddenly darkened. The undead, Orpheus, His Holiness, just sounding like a bad thing to mess with. Fortunately, they appeared in Huagua. Nick Fury breathed a sigh of relief. After saying a few words to a few people, he returned to the office just now and continued to chat with Tianjin Mo. Finished discussing? Trust me? As soon as he came in, Tianjin Yu looked at him with amusement. Basically believe you. Nick Fury did not hide it. Your museum, how many Gaia memories do you have? Not much. Tianjin Yu shook his head. Including those that have been destroyed, there are only about 10 before and after. Not to mention, Utopia took 2 more. Speaking of this, he shook his fist fiercely, as if he wanted to kill Utopia directly. Took 2? Nick Fury's eyes lit up. If he grabbed Utopia before Nazca, wouldn't these 2 Gaia memories have reached him? Utopia, he didn't pass the museum's final test and couldn't be a member of the Never. However, unwillingly, he directly betrayed the museum and snatched away the Utopia, Weather, and Fear memories that were kept. Never is your title? Never is what the museum calls us, and those who can perfectly control the power of memory can join Never. Tian Jinyu hugged his hands to his chest and said casually, "Well, I've told you a lot. Next, it's time for me to ask you questions." Tian Jinyu suddenly looked directly at Nick Fury. "Excuse me." Nick Fury and his 4 eyes, no, 3 eyes opposite. "Can you do me a favor? I think you are not an ordinary organization, but similar to our museum. If Utopia arises, can you tell me first?" Tianjin Mo said, "Utopia's ability, you have also seen, conventional weapons are ineffective against him, only I can catch him. Therefore, when you help me, you are also helping yourself. What about the remuneration? The reward is to help you catch Utopia. Gaia memory, don't even think about it." Tianjin Yu grimaced. "It's not fair. That's not how trading works." Nick Fury shook his head. "I've helped you catch Utopia, are you still not satisfied? How much manpower and material resources have you saved?" Tianjin Mo frowned. "That's your job. And, tell you, even without you, we have a way to catch him." Nick Fury sneered. "If you want us to help you, you have to pay for Gaia memory." Episode 17. I said that the museum will never allow Gaia memories to circulate outside. Tianjin Mo was a little angry, but it's now circulating outside. Nick Fury slapped the table. "I can stop it from circulating." Tianjin Mo stood up. "Then you go and stop it. I need some help from you. We need Gaia memory." "Impossible, Gaia's memory will never be passed on. It's gone out now." The 2 quarreled for a long time, staring at each other with wide eyes. Finally, Tianjin Yu snorted coldly and turned around. "I don't need your help. Don't expect me to help you." "Oh, the best." Nick Fury scoffed. Tianjin Mo turned around and left. "Chief?" Facing Tianjin Mo's actions, several people looked at Nick Fury. "Let him go. And that woman, let it go too." Nick Fury was unafraid. The seclusion of Tianjin may offend museums with great power, and the gains outweigh the losses. It is better to let Tianjin Mo go to Utopia, wait until the 2 are defeated, and then pick Peaches yourself. Utopia and the other 2 memories, he wants them all. Downtown New York, the Tianjin Intelligent Building, which is full of science and technology and futurism, is commonly known as Tianjin Fortress. In the office on the top floor, Yan Tianjin sat silently. Utopian dopedants and Nazca dopedants went out in a circle, 5,000 special impact factors, already rounded up. Next, it was time for him to open the second Kamen Rider illustrated book. "God forbid." Yan Tianjin chanted the words in his mouth, and then twitched. Kamen Rider illustrated books dangled in front of him. Finally, a 2-color Kamen Rider diagram was identified on the screen. "Congratulations, you have successfully unlocked Kamen Rider W book. Unlock illustrated rewards, Earth Museum, Skull Memory, Lost Drive. I just wanted to sleep and sent a pillow." Yan Tianjin showed a happy look. "I laid out so much, I didn't know how to circle, and as a result, the system sent the answer to my own hands. At this moment, I don't have to worry about follow-up problems. Let me see." Yan Tianjin opened the system mall. Due to the unlocking of the Kamen Rider W World Illustrated book, the originally somewhat empty system mall suddenly seemed fuller. Various program sublimation keys, all kinds of Shimakia, all kinds of memories, all kinds of drives. The cheap ones only need 1,000 ordinary impact factors, and the expensive ones are tens of thousands. More importantly, there are also layers in the book. Like Kamen Rider 01, it is divided into 3 layers. The first layer is Kamen Rider 01, Kamen Rider Balkan, Kamen Rider Valkyrie, Kamen Rider Destruction, and other basic forms, and some normal forms. Of course, there are also a large number of Shimagia and characters. The second layer, which requires 5,000 special impact factors to unlock again, is the advanced form of some Kamen Riders, and the Metal Cluster Locust is on the second layer. There are also new riders such as Kamen Rider Senjo. The third layer requires 10,000 special impact factors to unlock. Kamen Rider 02, Kamen Rider Eden, Kamen Rider Perdition Thunderbolt, etc., are on this floor. This is where the high combat power lies. Yan Tianjin felt that it was a bit impossible to spend 5,000 special impact factors to unlock the second layer, and he didn't know how long he had to save the third layer, so it was better to open another Kamen Rider guide. Now Kamen Rider W has been opened, although the top combat power is still not high, but it is convenient for him to earn the impact factor. Kamen Rider W has 2 floors. The first layer is the various types of Gaia memories and drives. The second level is the Earth Library, Extreme/Extreme Memory, and other goodies. And the second layer only requires 4,000 special impact factors to unlock, which is 1,000 cheaper than Kamen Rider 01. What about buying? Yan Tianxin looked at the goods from the Kamen Rider W world. The cheapest is the miscellaneous memory, as long as one of 1,000 ordinary impact factors. The rest of the memory is about 4,000. Silver memory is around 10,000. As for the gold memory, the cheapest one is also 20,000. He glanced at his balance. Host, Yan Tianxin. Age, 23. Unlocked Kamen Rider book, Kamen Rider 01, Kamen Rider W. Equipment, Kamen Rider 01 Drive, High Leaping Locust Program Sublimation Key, Utopia Memory, Nazca Memory. Ability, Earth Library. Slaves, Izzy, Zaya Satellite, Kamen Rider Destroyer, Tianjin Bao. Common Impact Factor, 100,498. Special Impact Factor, 400. An ordinary impact factor of 100,000 can also buy a few good things. Soon, he selected some Gaia memories and completed the payment. Hopefully, these things will not disappoint me. Yan Tianxin hooked the corners of his mouth. Damn it, damn it. On the way back, Jessica cursed. Since she was invited by someone from S.H.I.E.L.D. for a day, she had already missed her lesson for the day. The school had already called her adoptive mother, and of course the adoptive mother had called her. Listening to her adoptive mother's tone, she knew that when she went back tonight, there would be a disaster. It's all to blame on you. Looking at Tianjin Mo, who felt idle all the way, Jessica was angry. If it weren't for Tianjin Mo halfway out and caught himself, she won't be taken away by S.H.I.E.L.D. Episode 18, Skip Class. What is the reaction so big for? Tianjin Yu glanced at her impatiently. It's not scary to skip class, it's my mother who is scary. Jessica rolled her eyes. You can't imagine how nagging she can be. Hey, nagging is also a thing. Tianjin Yu smiled disdainfully. Does your mother want you to score 1,000 points on a 100-point test paper? A 100-point test paper with 1,000 points? Jessica Black question mark face. Forget it, I told you, you don't understand. Tianjin Yu shook his head and looked to the side. The two were noisy, and before they knew it, it was already night. This is New York at night? The two came to Hell's Kitchen from the other side of Times Square. The resplendent splendor of Times Square and the dark and eerie Hell's Kitchen form a stark contrast. Yes, this is New York at night. Jessica looked at Tianjin Mo's appearance, smiled, and said, do you think it is far from what you saw in Huagua? That's not true. Huagua often puts these dark sides of the United States, so I still see it more comprehensively. Tianjin Mo shook his head gently. Okay. Jessica pouted. There are many hotels here, you can find one at will. Anyway, with your strength, you don't have to worry about shooting, robbery, or whatever. Well, good offer. But I want to stay in a good guest house. Tianjin Yu looked at the surroundings of Hell's Kitchen in disgust. Are there any good hotels in New York? He asked. There are a lot of good hotels, like Four Seasons Hotel, Platinum and so on. But the price is a little high. It's thousands of dollars a day. Jessica introduced several guesthouses. It's okay, I have $5,000 a day. Tianjin Mo waved his hand carelessly. $5,000. Every day. Jessica's eyes widened. He looked carefully at the young man in front of him. Indeed, all the clothes on her body are famous brands, the kind that she can only earn one piece by playing for a month. The Chinese people are indeed rich. Jessica was a little envious. The two chatted for a while, and then they were ready to part, and from then on, the road was facing the sky, each going one side. However, a burst of fierce gunfire immediately attracted the attention of the two. Just a street just around the corner. Glancing at each other, the two immediately rushed over there. The direction of the gunshots was about 3 blocks away. Hearing this burst of gunfire, the residents of Hell's Kitchen honestly closed their doors and windows. There was suddenly no one on these streets. Swish. Swish. Jessica and Tianjin Mo, who had transformed into a Nazca doped, arrived at the scene. The battle site in front of him is the lair of a small gangster. One by one, the gang members ran out of the house in a panic and fled everywhere. But when a fire lit up in the house, a cloud of blood bloomed on the back of these gang members. It didn't take long for all the members of the little gangster to be solved. The initiator of everything in the room finally came out and showed his face in the moonlight. He wore only a black bulletproof vest. On its chest, there is a white skull pattern, which looks chilling. The Punisher, formerly known as Frank Custer. It turned out to be a retired captain of the U.S. Marine Corps. Since his wife and children were killed by gangsters, they have become the punishment of criminals. Indifferently glanced at the corpse on the ground, as if he had killed a few ants casually. He came to a corpse and raised the gun in his hand. You wait, Kim won't let it go. Boom. The corpse suddenly opened its eyes wide and looked at the Punisher with gritted teeth. Before he could finish speaking, a bullet pierced his forehead. After making up for a few gangsters who were not dead, the Punisher wanted to leave the scene. Airplanes. The sound of an engine roar made his eyes sink and he made a defensive posture. I don't know when, two figures riding two motorcycles, one after the other, came to him. Both figures are very muscular. One wears a tight blue and black uniform with a gun target on his forehead. The other is a plain jacket and jeans, with only one arm intact and the right hand turned into a mechanical arm. It was Kim Yong's left arm, right arm, Bullseye, and Executioner. Punisher, are you ready to die? The Bullseye and the Executioner's face were full of sinister smiles, one after the other, blocking the path and retreat of the Punisher. It seems that Gene is going to lose two loyal dogs today. The Punisher's gaze froze slightly. That being said, he could naturally see that the strength of these two people could not be underestimated, and they were higher than the group of rabble who had just killed. He must give his all to survive. If you can let the two of us strike at the same time, you Punisher is also the first. The Executioner raised his right arm, revealing several swarthy openings. His robotic arm is equipped with the function of a shapeshifting weapon. Come on, Punisher, let's see your strength. The Bullseye took the lead, and two streams of light flashed in his hand, shooting towards the Punisher fiercely. Episode 19. These are two playing cards. However, it is iron and has very sharp edges. Frank the Punisher was also prepared. At the moment when the opponent's playing cards were shot, the pistol in his hand was also raised. Two bullets hit the two iron playing cards with precision. But the moment he shot, the Executioner behind him also started. A flash of fire flashed from his right arm, and the bullet went towards Frank. Frank bent down and the bullets hit him in the back. But there was body armor to block it, and it did not hurt him. The Bullseye's playing card came again, and the sound of breaking the air was very close to him. In a critical moment, Frank rolled on a donkey on the ground, quickly dodged bullets and playing cards, and distanced himself from the two. And the pistol immediately began to return fire. The Bullseye and the Executioner also began to dodge. The two sides took cover and began a round of mutual fire. But soon there were no more bullets on Frank. Glancing at the gangster corpse not far away, Frank's eyelids lifted, one rolled over, and ran towards the corpse. I'm guarding against you. His intentions have been seen through by equally experienced Executioners and Bullseye. The two were ready to take a pre-aim, and the moment Frank was born, bullets and playing cards smashed like raindrops on their heads and faces. Frank was expressionless and rolled over suddenly. The prejudgment of the two was so evaded by him. It turned out that he had predicted the prejudgment of the two, and taking advantage of the break in fire, he came to another gangster corpse and picked up the pistol on his body. Damn. Frank opened the magazines of this pistol, and only 3 bullets existed. He pounded the ground hard, got out of cover, and 3 bullets quickly fired at the two. Taking advantage of the opportunity of the other party to dodge, run towards the rear. Yes, he was ready to run. In his dictionary, there is never a shame in a temporary retreat. Huh, want to escape? Bullseye sneered, and he didn't know when he pinched an initiator in his hand. Boom. Frank had only taken a few steps, and the wall around him exploded with a bang. The Bullseye actually anticipated his escape route a long time ago and planted explosives in advance. The dust instantly wrapped Frank. Although it was also more than 10 meters away from the explosion point, the shockwave and rubble all hit him. His body was thrown up instantly, and he felt that all his internal organs had been violently impacted. For a time, he lost his ability to fight. Haha, go die. The Bullseye showed no mercy, and the iron playing card in his hand flew out directly and shot towards Frank's body. Bite. Bite. 2 crisp sounds came. A blue burly figure stood in front of the Punisher, using his broad and solid chest to resist the Bullseye's dart. Who are you? The Bullseye's and the Executioner's faces changed instantly, and the cruel face that was originally grinning suddenly turned cold. But the other party looked a little unhuman, and they didn't make a move at the first time. 201. Is it a very beautiful thing? Make you so proud? Tianjin Mo looked at the two and snorted coldly. Who the hell are you? What's the matter with you? A stack of special playing cards lit up in the Bullseye's hand, and the Executioner also aimed the robotic arm of his right hand at the Tianjin Bao. There is a look of not giving an explanation, just fighting. I'm just a kind person passing by. Tianjin Mo sighed. You America, it's too messy. So many gangsters. The other day, I also met a group of ninjas bullying a blind man. Today, I met the two of you bullying one again. Fark. Bullseye saw that Tianjin Mo did not say the key point for a long time, and the playing cards in his hand shot directly. The Executioner's robotic armed bullets also poured out. But these things hit the body of the Nazca doped, and they could not make any waves at all. So daring, you dare to do something to me. Tianjin Yu looked at the two with disdain. You know, I'm at least 1,000 times stronger than you. As soon as the words fell, his whole person turned into a stream of light, and in the blink of an eye, he flashed between the two. Click. Click. I don't know how many bones were broken, and 2 figures flew out upside down. The two glanced at Tianjin Mo in shock, and then passed out on the ground. You successfully influenced the bullseye Lester and obtained 100 special impact factors. You successfully influenced the executioner Carl Burbank and received 100 special impact factors. You successfully influenced Frank Castle the Punisher and get 100 special impact factors. Nazca turned his head and looked at Frank on the ground. The other party's appearance was a little miserable, gray, and dirty, covered in blood. Fortunately, it doesn't look like it will burp right away. Jessica, get him to the hospital. Tianjin called Jessica. Why me? Jessica pointed to herself in surprise. Because I don't have health insurance in the United States. Do you look at him like this, like a rich man? Tianjin glanced at Frank. Too, I don't have to go to the hospital. Frank struggled and staggered up from the ground. It's a tough guy. Okay, don't force it. Where are you going? Let's just send it away. Jessica saw him like this, and walked on her own, sighing. Episode 20, Hell's Kitchen. In the small room, several people stared wide-eyed. Thank you for saving Frank. Claire looked at Frank the Punisher, who was tightly wrapped in a gauze band, and then at Matt, the daredevil who was in a cast beside him. I expressed my gratitude to Tianjin. You all know each other? Tianjin raised his eyebrows. Right. When they are wounded, they will come to me. Claire nodded. She works as a nurse in a clinic during the day and treats street heroes for free at night. Therefore, some street heroes will know each other. Are you treating them for free? Jessica asked. Yes. They are all heroes, and it is my pleasure to heal their wounds. Claire smiled. It's amazing. Jessica was a little envious. She has not yet received the beatings of society, and her life is boring. Seeing these street heroes selflessly punishing evil and promoting good, I have some yearning for this kind of life. Anyway, thank you. Claire expressed her heartfelt gratitude. The living environment of street heroes is not optimistic. The gangster forces here are too strong, and every hero who dares to come forward is risking his life. Just last week, we lost a partner forever. Claire's face darkened. She and Luke Cage developed some affection, but suddenly heard the sad news that Luke Cage was killed by Utopia. Seeing that her face was not good looking, Jessica and Tianjin did not speak again. The two walked around the house for a while. Suddenly, Jessica looked startled and turned pale. She suddenly saw a photo of Claire and Luke Cage. Could it be that Claire said that this sacrificed hero is him? Jessica's breathing became a little short. She will never forget that when she was about to be killed by that golden monster Utopia, it was the big black man in front of her who rushed out and saved her life. However, when the black man was killed by Utopia, she didn't even have the guts to step forward to help. This made her feel ashamed. It was she who killed Luke Cage and made Claire so sad. Jessica bit her lip and didn't say a word. What's wrong with you? Tianjin and Claire noticed her face and asked with concern. Nothing, nothing. Jessica squeezed out a smile and said, It's getting late, I'm going home. She left in a hurry. Manhattan, New York, a splendid building. This is the famous Fisker building, affiliated with the famous entrepreneur and philanthropist Wilson Fisk. And this Wilson Fisk has a nickname behind his back. Kamen, that's right, the underground emperor of New York. You guys, were beaten like this by a blue monster? Looking at the two seriously injured henchmen in front of him, he frowned. He sent 2 men to deal with the Punisher who had broken him a lot. Originally, I thought that the 2 of them would go out to deal with the Punisher and catch them, but I didn't expect to receive a report from my subordinates, saying that both the Bullseye and the Executioner were beaten to death. But he knew best the strength of the Bullseye and the Executioner. Is this something a Punisher can do? Calling the best doctors in New York, using the best equipment, the Bullseye and the Executioner's injuries were no longer serious, just waiting for time to recover. However, their sober report made Jean a little suspicious. Jing, he is definitely not human. Not only is his body like a monster, but his strength and speed are also monsters. Bullseye said excitedly. It seems that the shadow caused by the Nazca doping is not shallow. Somewhat similar to that golden god. On the other side, the Executioner echoed. He's not something we can handle. Looking at the appearance of the 2 subordinates and listening to the words of the 2 subordinates, He's expression was a little gloomy. Hell's Kitchen, another character has appeared that he can't control. This makes him an underground emperor who has dominated Hell's Kitchen for decades, and his face is a little dull. These damn guys. Kim squeezed his fist. The feeling of powerlessness that I hadn't felt for a long time came back to my mind. 2 of his men were beaten like this, but he did not dare to take revenge. The title of Underground Emperor suddenly became a humiliation. It's really unexpected, as an Underground Emperor of New York, Jin Yuan. You live in the middle of New York City so openly. A noble and fluttering voice suddenly sounded in the room. The people in the room, no matter who they were, instantly changed their complexions. The guns were held in their hands, and they looked around in panic. Don't look for it. I am here. Click, click. The ceiling of the room instantly cracked, forming a pentagram-like opening. A proud, noble, elegant, powerful, and sturdy golden figure slowly descended from the sky and fell in front of him. "It's you." Looking at this figure, Gene and his pupils immediately shrank into a small dot. The gunmen also swallowed their saliva immediately, with a bit of fear in their eyes. The other party is a mysterious creature who destroyed a block in Hell's Kitchen before and was worshipped as a god.